Hi everyone, thanks very much for joining today. You're probably wondering why John isn't here. So anyone who's looking out for John, I'm not John clearly. I'm standing in for him today as the Director of Marketing for EMEA. So what I'm going to be talking about really is sustainability when it comes to documents and what that really means today, and also looking at the areas in the knock-on impact into productivity and security. So I'll just get started. So we're going to do a little bit just on who is Nitro. Sorry, I'm just going to try and figure out the lay of where it's best to stand. What are the trends that are currently happening that are driving us to adopt new content and document practices? What are the challenges that these then present? And then what are the 4 key takeaways that you can start using today? Sorry, not very good at these things. So don't worry, I'm not going to do a big 5 slides on who is Nitro, but before I start, I'd just like to do a quick show of hands. So how many of you guys have a PDF reader in your office, access to PDF reader? Okay, great. Probably about half. Okay, how many of you have access to an editor? Yeah, even half again. So this is the kind of commonplace scenario that we see, is that you may have a PDF reader, and to be honest, before I joined Nitro, I actually thought that was all a PDF tool did, was allow you to read PDF documents. But actually, it's the ones that can edit that actually have the real power. So I know that everyone you'll see a few nods coming through on this. So yeah, sorry, I never actually got your Christine mentioned, we're Aussie founded, so it's a big part of our culture. Founded in 2005, and we're headquartered in San Francisco. Our Dublin headquarters, then our EMEA headquarters are in Dublin, and we've got 200 employees in total, spread across 5 locations. And you may have heard of us as being the leading alternative to Adobe Acrobat. That's usually how people come across us. So they're coming to Adobe end of year, they're coming up to audits, and they're looking for alternative solutions, and actually a lot of the time people don't even realize there is an alternative. In addition to that, we have an industry-leading 97% customer satisfaction, and we're the PDF partner of choice for Lenovo. So if you buy Lenovo laptops, your PDF default reader will be Nitro. So the three trends rather that I mentioned at the start, what are they? So content growth, content sprawl, and divergent workflows. All of these things you'll have heard in various facets, through probably some of the talks here as well today, but I just want to talk about these 3 specifically. So content growth, there's a recent stat that says that the data, or the growth of data, will be 44 times in 2020 what it was in 2009. So I think, in some way or form, we all know that data is growing, but I think that was a really shocking stat for me. And it's not just one team or one area in a business anymore that's leading to this data growth. It's everyone. It's me in marketing, it's the sales guys. Everyone's creating version upon version upon version. And we need to think about what that impact is. The other one is content sprawl. So a very common term now is BYOD, bring your own device. And people are expecting and expected to be able to work remotely. That's not always the best thing, but the reality is that every now and again we log on from home, or on the way to the airport on our holidays, we're going to be logging in and doing some work. So you've got to comply with all the company networks, there's the SaaS applications, there's personal computers, all of these things. So data doesn't live in one place anymore. And then the last of it is the divergent workflow. So there's great tools out there now. There's Slack, there's Huddle, all of these kind of collaboration and productivity tools. The reality is that nobody has processes yet in place for it. So sometimes you end up hindering productivity and performance versus then aiding it. So the key there is really to get processes in place for using all of these different types of workflows. So what do these trends then present for us, and what are the significant challenges? Well, the first of these, and the one that I'm obviously most interested in talking to you about today, is sustainability. So there's a survey recently that says that over 49% of CEOs list sustainability as their top 3 objective, and 13% actually say it's their number 1 objective for the coming years. It's not just about cost reduction anymore, it's the real differentiator. I think consumers are becoming more savvy around the impact of the products that they're selecting, and if you're faced with 2 very similar products and one is able to also support sustainability, carbon footprint, everything like that, people are tending to choose those. So, as I mentioned, not just cost, so the main reason is to align with corporate goals and missions. So they really want to put that in, as I said, as their differentiator. They want to build on their reputation or maintain or even improve in some cases on what their reputation is. And then lastly, cost cutting, because let's face it, we all have to bear the brunt of costs, and if we can find a way that we meet those objectives but also can reduce our costs, then it's a win-win. And interesting, you'll see just there on the stat, in 2012 when this was conducted, cost cutting was the biggest reason, and now you can see it's third after reputation and alignment. So document management itself, what are the benefits of this? So the aim really is to reduce energy use or to reduce the waste. And how do you do that? Through documents. So the upside of it, reduce, save trees, save energy, save your space, reduce waste, and then of course save money. So just some stats, and I always think these are kind of nice, so I don't want to be too much of a word wall for you, but these are, what I'd love you to do is kind of take some of these stats and use them in your business cases for promoting document sustainability internally. So to make just 1 ton of paper, you're talking about 24 trees, 2,500 pounds of solid waste, and 19,000 gallons of water. So that's just for 200,000 pieces of paper. It's pretty significant. And probably this stat you've seen, or it's been talked about again today, is around, if it continues like this, it will probably impact our forests. Deforestation will happen within 100 years. To save energy, so copiers, printers, does anyone actually like going to the printer already? Thankfully, we don't have to do it that much. But the actual amount of energy that these things use just in standby mode or in sleep mode is significant. And 1 ton, the energy that's required to produce 1 ton could supply a household for 10 months. So again, lots of reasons why you would want to look at this. And then space, we actually, we recently moved office, and I know that for people who worked in other companies before Nitro, the thing that they said was, my God, it's so easy to move this office. Like literally one person had their box and they put in all their pens and their trinkets on their desk, but nobody had wads and wads of paper. There was no filing cabinets that had to be moved. So if anyone's in the space that we're in, where you're kind of doing a bit of office hopping, trying to find the right spot, that's a real big factor. And we'll look at a company later on that how much they managed to save by reducing their filing cost to rent filing space. And then some stats around saving money. So this is a study that we did, but it was it's obviously US based, hence the stats are US. But $1.12 just to print a piece of paper, $20 to file, $2.50 to recreate. And as I mentioned, that company Owens Corning, they saved $13 million just through filing cabinet lease costs alone by moving to a paperless office. So if you ever needed a business case, there it is. So as I mentioned, so sustainability is a top priority for the CEOs, and it does enable you to become a more powerful organization by adopting these practices. But in addition to that, and I think, for anyone here at the data side of these talks, there is the impact on productivity and security. So quickly through productivity, a fifth of overall productivity in the company is lost through bad work documents practices. And really why that is not having access to the right tools. So in companies of less than 100 employees, only 57% have access to a PDF editor. In companies greater than 100, that actually reduces, there's only 74% are not equipped with a PDF editor. So again, probably you're nodding your head and thinking, yeah, there's that one person in the office who has a PDF editor and I need to track him or her down every week to make sure I get my stuff done. What are they using them for? So editing. So what you'll find is people are printing to edit a lot of the time. And this is just a workflow of the traditional kind of what you're doing. So you create the document. What do? You print it. You walk it over to your boss's desk for them to sign. You get them eventually to sign it. You scan it. You send it. And then you send it to the end user who comes back and says, actually, you forgot one little thing, so you have to do the whole thing over again. And in terms of what people are doing day to day, printing is the biggest. So they're printing up to 10 times a day. So what are the barriers then to effective collaboration? So you end up sending the wrong file to your boss, or you end up working on the wrong file, or you end up getting all the information and then realizing after 10 hours of work that, oh, somebody else has done it. So all of this as well comes into the realm of productivity. And what we find is if you provide the tool, it will be used. So again, this is not just to position Nitro, it's to get you thinking about how you would use different technologies to support your productivity. So editing a document 5 times a week, signing twice a week, add a note to a document 3 times a week. Okay, so and then the impact then is an increase in revenue rather, and a reduction in cost. I'm just conscious of time, so I'm going to do quickly on the security message, because I think there's probably others that are talking more about the security, and what I really want to talk about is document security and the impact of your paper office. So when we say we want to move to a paperless office, it's not that you can't, you have to have a sneaky notebook under your arm in case anyone sees you. It's to reduce significantly the wasted paper that you're using to do things like printing to edit, printing to markup, printing to sign. So I think if you can ask yourself these questions, you probably get a good understanding of whether these sort of practices could be a fit for you. So paper creates risk. I think it's something like 30% of paper that's printed every day just is left at the printer and never gets picked up. So you could have company information, you could have employee information, you could have candidate information. Unqualified conversion sites. So Nitro obviously have free conversion sites, but they're obviously well run and well looked after. There are others out there that you could be sending your data anywhere. And then if you're having the lack of visibility around what is happening to your documents, or if you're not seeing what happens when they go into, if you're sharing them through email, who's actually getting them, who's actually reading them. And we know that these habits die hard. So most people, as I said, default to printing to get something signed, or to print them to review them. But they do create risk. So 23% of major data breaches involve paper, and 61% of small to medium breaches involve paper. So again, think about your own office space. So if you, by employing some of these document management practices and moving away from this paper office, you can see a 23% reduction in risk. So in conclusion, the three trends that we mentioned, content growth, content sprawl, and divergent workflows, are impacting sustainability, productivity, and security. And the 4 things that you can start doing today: provide workers the access to your tools. So we actually internally call it PDF for the people. The PDF shouldn't be a luxury, it should be a right and not a nice to have. Eliminate paper wherever possible. Prescribe standardized collaboration processes. Invest in a smart documents platform. So again, the 3 things, the 3 trends, the 3 impacts, and the 4 things that you can start doing today. If anything, I hope that's helps with your internal processes. And just before I go, we are doing a survey at the moment. We're just on stand 20, so if you're heading that way, just a quick survey on paper, how you're using paper today in your office, and you could be in with a chance to win a Chromecast. And we're also doing a webinar on the 17th of November, and I'd love if any of you would like to co-present. It's really a thought leadership webinar around sustainability, getting people to think about documents in the world of sustainability. So no mad sales pitch or anything. And if you are interested, you can tweet me at Lauder, or you can email me at rebecca.lauder@nitro.com. And that's it. So thank you very much. If anyone has any questions.